cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gem Accessories. Gem Accessories is one of the leading accessory manufacturers within the trading card game space. Known for their deck boxes, Gem also has an amazing lineup of binders, backpacks, and more. Some of our personal favorites include the new KLRZ Icons deck boxes, the Secrets binder, and the Jaguar and Puma backpacks. But don't just take it from us, check out some of these reviews on screen. For all these amazing products and more, be sure to check out Gem Accessories using the link in the description down below or on Twitter at XGemAccessories. Again, the description down below or on Twitter at XGemAccessories. Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sonny. I am here with my co-host Caleb.
Hello.
And of course, before we get too much farther in, we want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. So, of course, a huge thank you to my mind blank. Gem Accessories for their support of the podcast, as well as Steel Fox Games and ETB Games in Shreveport and Alexandria, Louisiana, respectively. There are links to all of those in the description down below. Of course, be sure to check out our Dragon Shield affiliate link before you purchase anything on their store. Just click it before you shop, and you can support the channel at no extra cost for the things you would already be buying. Also, please be sure to check out our Patreon if you haven't already. It is a wonderful thing that lets us keep the lights on here, lets us, go to more tournaments and do more things. Also, the Patreon gets an extra episode every single week. We shout out all of the various patron members at the end of every episode, and you get access to every episode, audio version at least, a little bit early. Now, with all that said, there's one more thing that I want to shout out before we get into the bulk of today's content, which there is a large amount of content today.
Yep.
If you are not subscribed to our YouTube, I would really love for you to go do that right now. You can pause this if you're on Spotify or iTunes. Just pause it, jump over to the YouTube app, and just click that. Just search Top Cut Podcast, click the subscribe button. One, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can actually monetize our YouTube, because we've put an enormous amount of money into this, and we've been doing it for like 2 years now. We're like up to, I think we're about to be at 200 episodes. And we're like trying to finally grow our YouTube. And a part of that is, yesterday, if you haven't already seen it, we put out a vlog for YCS London.
Yeah.
It is, without a doubt, the best video that has ever gone up on our YouTube channel. That is not hyperbole. That is not exaggeration. Seriously, if you are at all into vlogging content of any kind, I really recommend checking it out. It is a spectacular video. Our editor Justin did a phenomenal job with it. He put tons of hours into it, literally like 40 plus hours just into this one vlog video.
Yep.
There was, I think, between 3 and 4 hours of footage from that event, and he scrubbed through all of it and made it work. We went ahead and got a copyright-free music subscription service, just so that we could have the highest quality music possible and beats and things like that for the vlog. It is a spectacular piece of media, and I really would love it if you would check it out, because there's a ton of time and effort that went into it, and bigger number, better person. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble about our YouTube. And with all of that said, let's go ahead and get right on into the content, baby.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about today. There's a couple of really small things that I want to touch on first before we get too much farther. So the first thing is, we've been getting influencer reveals for Cyberstorm Access. So one of the things that got revealed in the influencer reveals is the first of the Starlight rares for the set. Now, every core set, at least in the TCG, has 5 Starlight rares. 4 of them are cards from within the set, and one of them is a legacy Starlight Rare pick. Sometimes it is a little bit less legacy than others. For example, at one point we had DD Crow, Effect Veiler, we've had Stardust Dragon, Black Rose Trishula.
Yeah.
We've also had Elementor Stratos.
Which was a cool pick.
Yeah. But this one is Visas Starfrost, which is definitely a pick.
It is a thing.
I don't know. I feel like they're playing the lore up on this one really big, and they're doing a lot to like really make it a thing. And like the cards are good, right? Like a lot of the Visas Starfrost lore cards are very good. Kashira, Scareclaw, like these, like Mana Dome is going to be insane. These are all good archetypes, but I don't like, for example, what they did with the Fallen of Albaz lore, where they made the Despia deck, they like forcibly made it broken, and then ended up giving him an ulti. They gave him just a bunch of printings. Same thing with Aluber. They've given Aluber an ulti now, and they just force feed this lore down our throats. And I don't know. I'd rather see other cards that are more usable in more decks get these Starlight Rarity treatments.
Like Etele, I think would have been a good choice.
Yeah, I think Etele would have been sick as a Starlight Rare. Or just off the top of my head, I mean, you can even do Harpy's Feather Duster would have been a great pick.
Regeki.
Yeah, for sure. There are like tons of really great, really well-known cards from throughout the game's history that I think would have made awesome picks here. But overall, it's fine. I mean, an Ash Starlight Rare would be insane.
Yeah.
Ghostbell was one that already got one too.
Yeah, that is true.
So, next we have a few OCG subscription promos confirmed. So these are a bunch of cards from 5Ds, which are Junk Mail, which was used by Yusei, Junk Dragonlet, also used by Yusei, and Burgundy the Magic Elf, which was used by Sherry. So we just have names. We don't have any effects or anything like that. And speaking of having a name and no effect, we have the next V-Jump promo. So this will be the one after Mystic Potato. This is Dandy White Lion.
It is noted to be designed to work with Slifer, the Sky Dragon, amongst other cards.
I mean, you could make that argument for the original Dandelion because it would put extra materials on board to be tributed for Slifer's summon.
But I don't think you can tribute the fluff tokens. The turn they're summoned, I think.
Just the turn they're summoned.
Yeah. Which is less than ideal. So, like, I'm trying to think
Yeah, but Dandelion still can't come off the ban list.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking it would have to be, like, something along the lines of you can, like, I don't know, discard this card, summon 3 fluff tokens, then you can't summon anything from your extra deck while these fluff tokens are on the field.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah, it would make it to where it's not absolutely broken, to where it just has to immediately go on the ban list, but then also still usable in Cypher.
Yeah.
Well, Cypher, Obelisk, it could still work with Raw.
Yeah.
Because then you just have those 2 cards in hand, you pitch, activate a Dandy White Lion, pitch it, you get 3 tokens, tribute all 3, boom, normal summon. You got it.
Yeah.
You're off to the races. Without, again, becoming discard link 3.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, if they just made it Dandelion with a hard once per turn, it wouldn't even be that insane. But Dandelion's biggest issue is that it is not once per turn.
Yeah. So if your deck has a way to recur it and then put it back in grave over and over, you can just keep pumping out tokens.
Yeah. It really is like actually insane.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I like the art on it. It's pretty solid. Next, I don't think there's any other tiny announcements. I think everything else is like tons of new cards.
Oh yeah. Not just new cards.
Yeah, just new cards.
No. There's one other thing that's new that isn't a new card.
I must not have pulled it up. I'll let you cover this.
Oh, sure. I gotta find it.
How do you not have this pulled up?
I thought I did. I must have accidentally closed
Bro,
it. You got-
bro.
1 second. Let me pull it back up again.
I blame you.
Yes, blame me.
You're easy to blame. It's fun to blame you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, there was a new Master Duel Forbidden and Limited list too, which we're not going to cover because Master Duel is fake.
Master Duel is fake.
Master Duel may as well not exist as far as I'm concerned. Until they add in Time Wizard formats, I'm out. Shout out Celeste. You know what you did. You said.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I gotta pull back up. So, we have a new type.
Oh, but this is part of the new cards.
Yes, but it's not.
It's talked about in the new cards.
Fair
That's
enough.
the whole point of the new cards.
We have a new type. The OCG name of this new type is
Spellcaster,
Illusionist.
which is Spellcaster.
It's different.
No, it's Spellcaster.
It's not Spellcaster. It's Illusionist.
That's what I said. Spellcaster.
No, it's completely different. So, whenever Yu-Gi-Oh was first being developed, they had this idea where magic users, not spellcasters, magic users would be under one of 4 types, and then
They just made them spellcasters because that made more sense.
again, this is when they're still developing the rules and mechanics to where various spellcasters would be able to just automatically destroy in battle spellcasters of a specific type. So you had dark magic or shadow magic, so dark magician, etc., who would just automatically destroy lights, like mystical elf,
Sure.
who would automatically destroy fiends, like Shadow Spectre, for example, who would automatically destroy illusionists, like Illusionist Faceless Mage, who would automatically destroy Shadow. And they actually saw that little rock, paper, scissors mechanic in the Game Boy Color games and the Game Boy Advance game, like the early Game Boy Advance games, where there was two rock, paper, scissors, and then like a third one in the middle that just kind of didn't touch anything. Only they translated illusionist as dream. So you had dream type monsters.
Okay.
So it was shadow beat light, which beats fiend, which beats dream, which beats dark shadow. And then on the other side, you had forest, wind, earth, thunder, water, fire, back to forest. And then divine was just immune to all, which just didn't even bother with that mechanic.
But then they realized that illusionist was a dumb typing because they have spellcasters.
Well, whenever they moved on to away from, well, like when they started kind of developing it and putting it more into stone, is when they moved away from the dream type or the illusionist.
For the reasons I just outlined.
Kind of. They just kind of went, most of them, like almost all the illusionist monsters could be put into other categories.
Yeah.
Not just spellcaster.
Yeah, fiends.
Yeah, fiends, beasts,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Speaking of fiends and beasts, this is a good segue into the new cards.
It's a great segue into new cards. It's a dumb typing.
I think it's fine.
I don't know, man. I think there's cooler typings they could have done.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's been generally used to cover mythical monsters, reality warpers, and even hypnosis and illusions. So, first new card.
Something like a spellcaster, yeah.
First new card, Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Level 4 Earth Beast effect monster, 1500 attack, 1200 defense. You can only use the 1 and 2 effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card is normal or special summon, add a level 5 fiend monster or a chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. 2. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add an illusionist monster from your deck to your hand. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
Not-
it seems decent.
Yeah, not great, but good.
Next, we have Baphomet the Great Wings. This is a dark level 5 fiend effect monster. This is 1400 attack, 1800 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 level 4 beast monster and or 1 chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except fusion monsters. 2. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can target 1 illusionist monster in your graveyard and special summon it.
Next up, we have Cornfield Quaddle. Level 4 Wind Illusionist Effect Monster, 500 attack, 1700 defense. You can only use the 1 and 3 effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Discard this card, add a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Cornfield Quaddle. 2. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battles involving this card. 3. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, and you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, negate the effect, and destroy the card. Note, this card is an adaptation of an old video game exclusive card.
All right. Next, we have Mirror Swordsman, which is like kind of the best card in the entire engine. Level 4 Light Illusionist Effect Monster, the first one. 1900 attack, 300 defense. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. Quick effect. You can tribute this card. Special summon one monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck except Mirror Sword Knight. 2. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battles involving this card. 3. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field and you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard and negate that effect.
That is really good. Note, this is also an adaptation of an old video game card. Next up, we have Chimera the Illusion Magical Beast, level 8 Dark Illusionist Fusion Monster, 3100 attack, 2800 defense. Materials: Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast and one or more Illusionist monsters. 1. This card's name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast and is treated as a Phantom Beast card while in the field or graveyard. 2. This card can make attacks on monsters during each battle phase up to the number of fusion materials used for its summon, minimum of 2 obviously. 3. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battles involving this card. 4. If this card battled an opponent's monster at the end of the damage step, you can change that opponent's monster's attack to 0 and negate its effects.
So it's just like a big OTK dingus.
Oh yeah, no, you could just drop him and just go slam, its attack's now 0, boom, 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 just
Yeah.
basically keep smacking him direct. Hilariously, this also works with other monsters that can make multiple attacks on monsters, because then you can go like slam into one, make it 0, slam into the other one, make it 0, and then have your other one go pop, pop.
Yeah.
For essentially 2 direct attacks.
But I mean, you can just use him to just keep attacking.
Well, I'm saying
Same monster.
Well, I'm saying if like your opponent has 2 monsters and you make him with the minimum requirement, which is 2, so you only have 2 attacks.
Yeah.
You can go slam, slam, reduce them both to 0, and then pop, pop with your other guy who can attack 2 monsters.
Yeah. Next, we have a Chimera the Phantom Beast King. Level 6 Wind Beast Fusion Effect Monster, 2100 attack and 1800 defense. Materials: 1 Beast Monster and 1 Fiend Monster. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. This card's name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while in the field or in the graveyard, but is still treated as a Phantom Beast card. 2. If this card is fusion summoned, you can activate this effect. During the end phase of this turn, send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard.
Good.
3. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Beast, Fiend, or Illusionist monster in your graveyard, special summon it.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Chimera Fusion, quick play spell card. You can only use the 2 effects of this card's name once per turn. 1. During the main phase, fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, including a beast or fiend. So you can make whatever you want as long as one of the materials is a beast or a fiend.
Yeah.
2. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you have Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast on your field or in your graveyard, activate one of these effects. You can either add this card to your hand or banish this card, and if you do, special summon Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts, and 1 Perform It from deck or graveyard. Graveyard.
Alrighty.
Pretty interesting.
Overall, I think it's bad, but it is interesting for sure.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we actually have a...
New Makonko card.
Well, I was going to do the new Illusionist next. Go ahead and knock that out, because...
Sure. We're going way out of order, yeah.
Yeah. So, new Illusionist, Nightmare Magician, level 7 Dark Illusionist Effect Monster, 2500 attack, 2000 defense. 1. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battles involving this card. I am sensing a theme here. 2. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you take control of it. 3. Once per turn at the start of the damage step, if another monster attacks, you can destroy 1 card on the field. The kanji literally reads Magician of Glamour / Perplexity. And my man, he is blinged out.
Yeah. It's funny, in the original OCG release of this card, it was so shiny as a Starlight or Ulti or whatever it was.
It was an Ulti. You couldn't read the name.
Yeah, you literally couldn't read the name.
It was great.
Amazing. All right. What do you want to do next?
Now we'll continue back in order with the Makankos.
Okay. So the dance of the Makanko enters a darker phase. Beware the temper of the kami, for the kami might just make you disappear. Ooh. First off, we have Arahime, the Manifested Makanko. Level 9 Light Fairy Ritual Effect Monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. You can ritual summon this card with Makanko Kagura. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, and you have another Makanko card in your graveyard, you can target one face-up monster in the field, equip it with this card. 2. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is equipped to a monster, you can return this card and the equipped monster to the hand. 3. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card.
Yeah, interesting. Note, this card is visually referencing the Kyuubi no Kitsune, a great and powerful yokai with a 1,000-year lifespan. Considered to also be an incredibly adept and powerful sorcerer.
All right.
Next up, we have Makanko, Spiriting Away. Yes, like the movie. Normal trap card.
That spirit's hid away.
So
this is actively taking somebody.
So, the kanji means to be disappeared or spirited away. It could be noted that it is basically a coin toss on it being translated. So if this remains in the TCG, that's why. Yes, the term here is the term used in the name of the Studio Ghibli movie. They just when they translated the name of the movie,
yeah,
they kind of altered it a little bit, so it just made more sense.
Yeah.
In English, its effects. Normal trap, you can only use the 1 and 2 effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip that face-up monster to a Makanko you control. Then, if there's a ritual monster card on the field, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each equipped spell you control. 2. Banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon one of your Makanko monsters that is banished or in your hand. That's fairly solid, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good.
Talk about an interesting way to out your opponent's board is just equipping one of your opponent's monsters.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Next up, we have
Hita, the Fire Channeler. Oh,
not Charmer,
adjust.
Channeler.
All right. So, this is a level 5 Fire Spellcaster Effect Monster, 1850 attack, 1500 defense, just like they always are. This card is always treated as a Charmer card. That means even in the deck, it is a Charmer. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can discard this card and one fire monster. Add one fire monster from your deck to your hand with an attack greater than the attack of the other discarded monster. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except fire monsters.
So you can discard this and a Volcanic Shell, add Doomfire, effective shell.
Yeah, this card's crazy.
Yeah, this is an example.
When a fire monster you control is destroyed by battle while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card.
Not as good. But that first effect, though.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a bunch of new Altergeist cards.
Oh, joy.
Altergeist, hack the planet. Back to hacking 101 with the Altergeist.
Shout out DZeef.
Yeah. First off, we have Altergeist, Malwisp, level 3 light spellcaster tuner effect monster, 1500 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, special summon it. 2. If this card is normal or special, you can target an Altergeist monster in your graveyard except another copy of Malwisp. Special summon in defense mode, but it cannot activate its effects this turn. Note, this is named after malware and Will-o'-the-Wisps.
Alright, next we have Altergeist Penetrator? That's a weird one.
Yes. Or,
looks like Penetrator.
Perentriator. It's creature.
Perentrator.
It's a combination of creature and Peri, a winged spirit from Persian mythology, along with Penetrator.
Alright, this is a level 1 fire spellcaster effect monster, 500 attack, 300 defense. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. This card can attack directly. 2. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can draw one card. 3. If this card is sent from field to the graveyard, you can send one Altergeist card from your hand, deck, or face-up field to the graveyard, except itself.
Huh. Next up, we have Altergeist Admenia. Link 4 Dark Spellcaster, Link Effect Monster. 3000 attack. Arrows. Top, bottom, left, right. In a cross form. Materials. 2 or more Altergeist monsters. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card is Link Summoned, you can send an Altergeist trap directly from your deck. 2. Once while face on the field, during the main phase, quick effects. Send one card you control to the graveyard, target an effect monster your opponent controls, take control of it, and if you do, it is an Altergeist. Note, this is named after Administrator and Domina.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, these Altergeist cards are really good for the deck.
Yeah, it is. And we still have one more normal trap for them.
Yep. Altergeist Revitalization. Normal trap, you can only use one of the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and only once that turn. 1. Target one Altergeist Link monster in your graveyard, special summon it. 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Altergeist monster.
Alright.
A little bit of extension, I dig it.
Yeah. It's not like the best, but it's solid. I mean, they can't all be, home runs
Right.
of cards right out the park. Next up, we have
Magicians of Bond and Unity.
yes, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Magic Show. Remember all the friends and memories we made along the way. Magicians of Bonds and Unity, level 8 light spellcaster, special summon, effect monster, 2500 attack, 2500 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by having 25 or more cards in your graveyard. Gains 2500 attack and defense while your opponent has 25 or more cards in their graveyard.
I mean,
It's not great. It's cool looking.
no, yeah, it's very cool looking, but I would not call it like spectacular.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have a new Dark World card.
Yo, we just got one.
Dude, this is crazy. So this is an random anime card showing up in the main set after like all this time of it not being a thing. So it's called Dark Corridor. Normal spell card. You can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. Add one Dark World monster from the deck to the hand. Then discard one card.
Yeah.
What? It literally... Okay, so like the one redeeming quality of this card is that it's not Dark World Corridor, it's just Dark Corridor.
Yes, you can't search it. You have to hard draw this thing. But boy, if you do...
Yeah, here's the thing. If there's one thing the Dark World deck can do, it's hard draw.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, just between card destruction and Dark World Dealing, which I don't even know if they even run Dark World Dealing.
No, they really don't. That's the crazy part. The deck doesn't even really need Dark World Dealings to function anymore on like a real practical level.
Yeah. Like, they do run card destruction, but that's because that's just way too powerful of a card not to run.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes some lists have even cut it because it's not like as consistently powerful of a card as other things they could be running.
Yeah, which is wild to think about. It's just...
It's a line yap.
Exactly.
So...
Exactly. I'm just like, it's... And then this thing... Just... Oh no! I need a pop. Activate this. Grapha. Discard Grapha. Pop.
Yeah.
I need a draw. Brow. I need a spell trap pop. I need a search for my field spell. I need to do this. I need to do that. One card does whatever you need.
Literally, yes.
That's wild.
All right, next we have Duelist Genesis. So, this is...
That's the name of the card, not the set.
I mean,
It is the name of the set of a set.
Yeah, this was the Duelist Genesis was the first set of the Synchro era.
Yeah, but the name of this card is also Duelist Genesis.
Right.
Hilariously.
They do have quite a record of coming up with a card and then naming the card after, like naming a card after a set.
Yeah,
They've done it several times.
Yeah, yeah.
Cybernetic Horizon.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to come up with another one, but I know it exists.
Oh yeah, like the Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Man, if they printed that as like a continuous spell,
Oh, dude.
Oh wait, that would just be a saga from Magic the Gathering.
Actually, it would, yeah.
Hilariously.
All right. This is a normal spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. One, if you have a tuner on your field or in your graveyard, add one synchro spell trap from your deck to your hand, which there are about 20 of. Should I read them all off?
Yeah, sure. Just kind of quickly.
Sure. These are all the searchable cards, which are Synchro Overtake, Desynchro, Synchro Gift, Synchro... Oh, can't say that word. Synchro Cracker, Synchro Control, Synchro Chase, Synchro Change, Synchro Dilemma, Synchro Transcend, Synchro Boost, Necroid Synchro, Miracle Synchro Fusion, King's Synchro, Synchro Ejection, Synchro Call, Synchro Strike, Synchro Zone, Synchro Transmission, Synchro Barrier, Synchro Material, Synchro Deflector, Synchro Overtop, Synchro World, Synchro de Mayo.
Yeah, cards it does not search. Synchronized Realm, because its Japanese name is Common Mental World, and Synchro Blast Wave, because in Japanese it's actually Saishin Dosho Ha. Kamehameha Wave, let's go.
I'm gonna be honest. I think in English it would search those.
Again, well, that's because they've come into these issues before. A great example is with frogs, and then with Frog the Jam, where in Japanese he's Slime Toad, and they just said no, you can't search Frog the Jam with anytime you can search frog stuff.
Yeah, but if they're going to print this card with this, what are they? They would have to rename both of these cards for that sake. And to be honest with you, it's not that crazy of a thing to let them just
just let them do it. Whatever. But at the same time, they're probably just going to say, listen, you can't search these two cards. However, there are also two other cards that will have to wait for rulings because two spaces count.
I don't understand why these cards would be.
It's probably because it's probably a case of their Japanese name having synchro in there, but then it's like
it's like SY at the end of one word and NYCHRO at the beginning of another.
Basically, or something like would the word synchronization count?
I would think it would because it has synchro in the name of the card.
Yeah, because
personally,
they don't have anything like that up at the top, so it's because the nearest thing is Synchronized Realm, which is Common Mental World. So we'll have to wait and see how they rule that whenever the card actually comes out in the OCG. And then it's a fairly safe assumption to just go, yeah, whatever they can search in the OCG, we can search here. So those, I don't think we're going to be able. So the safe assumption is we can't search those two cards.
Yeah. All right. Next, we enter the final stretch of the Gold Pride Grand Prix, and the man in the back said, "Everyone attack." All right, so first off, we have Gold Pride Rollerballer. This is a level 5 Earth Psychic effect monster with 1800 attack and 1600 defense. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, also, I should say, these are TCG exclusive cards. All of these Gold Pride cards are coming in Cybernetic Access, which is the sneak peek for is next Saturday.
Yeah.
So, Gold Pride Rollerballer, level 5 Earth Psychic Effects Monster, 1800 attack, 1600 defense.
And he has a secret.
Yes. Because these are all from the influencer reveals, which tells us what the rarity is on most of the cards. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can special summon this card from your hand. During the main phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon one Gold Pride fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. You can only use each effective Gold Pride Rollerballer once per turn.
So the best way to describe this guy is he's the character you play as in Katamari Damacy, but instead he's running on top of the Katamari. And the next card would just straight up be the Katamari itself, Gold Pride Pinballer.
I don't get it. I don't know what a Katamari is.
So in the game Katamari Damacy, you play as, I forgot what your species are, but your whole thing is you have to recreate stars. So you're given I forgot what it's actually called, and you have to roll it around, and it picks up random,
like a ball of tape,
basically, and you're rolling around picking up stuff. And it starts out with stuff like wrappers, bugs. Eventually, it expands out into the really short fence posts.
Sure.
And then eventually, you start picking up cats. and dogs and fish, and then eventually, and by the end of it, you're picking up whole buildings, just rolling up entire cities to turn him into a star.
I want to say I've heard about this.
Yeah. So hilariously, in the artwork, you can see Rollerballer on the pinballer
Can you?
on top right. Yeah.
That's funny.
He's holding on for dear life. He's a level 9 Dark Machine Fusion Effect monster with 3,000 attack, 0 defense. Materials: Gold Pride Rollerballer, and 1 or more Gold Pride monsters.
Okay.
If this card is fusion summoned, you can equip face-up monsters your opponent controls to it up to the number of fusion materials used. So it comes in and just kind of rolls them, and they become part of the pinballer.
Yeah.
You can only use the previous effect once per turn. Also, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, this effect's activation cannot be negated.
Ooh.
Once per turn. During the end phase, if this previous effect was activated this turn, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon Gold Pride Rollerballer from deck or graveyard. So,
That's really crazy.
you use Rollerballer's effect, quick fuse into this dude, and then you just scoop up your opponent's entire board as equips. And then during the end phase, he goes back, you get your pinballer back, get a different one from the deck if you want, and then all the equips just go to grave. Not destroyed by card effect, not sent by card effect, sent by game mechanic. This is important.
Yeah, this is a really important distinction because cards like the branded cards normally would get their effects if they're sent by card effect to the graveyard, whereas this, like Caleb said, as we talked about this before the podcast, and
Yeah.
if I was a judge, this is how I would rule this, is that the cards aren't being sent to the graveyard by card effect for, like I said, like the branded cards, like Mirror Jade and stuff. So if you can get it, if you can take something like that, then when it goes to the graveyard in the end phase, they fell off. They weren't sent by card effect. They were sent by game mechanic. So, which I think is a really cool concept.
Yeah, and the fact that this does not target and doesn't destroy. So
Yeah.
like the only things that would be unaffected by this are towers, cards that are just straight up unaffected by all other card effects.
Yeah, I do hate that it's spell speed 4, but like I understand why they did it.
But it's only spell speed 4 if your life points are lower than your opponent's.
Yeah, but if you play it in something like a punk engine,
Oh, yeah, your life, yeah.
sure be lower. Next, we have Gold Pride Chariot Carrier, rank 3 Water Aqua Exceeds Effect Monster, 1900 attack, 2700 defense. Materials: 2 level 3 monsters. You can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Gold Pride spell from your deck to your hand. Then, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can send 1 Gold Pride monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use the previous effect of Gold Pride Chariot Carrier once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, if the previous effect was activated this turn, return this card to the extra deck. And if you do, special summon 1 Gold Pride Captain Carry from your deck or graveyard.
Yeah, Captain Carey being the pirate lady. This is
Yes.
her cart, her vehicle.
Yes.
Next up, we have Gold Pride. That came out of nowhere. Quick play spell card. Special summon a Gold Pride monster from your hand or graveyard. Then your opponent special summon a monster from their hand or graveyard to the field, but its effects are negated. So you can only activate this card once per turn. So you get something for free. Your opponent gets something for free, but you have the advantage in that their effect is negated.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No. It's not great, especially if you can't out it, but it's also not terrible as well.
Yeah. Next, you have Gold Pride Pedal to the Metal. This is another quick play spell card.
I love the artwork on this card.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It's Rollerballer, like, just doing its thing, and you can see the pinballer just hanging on for dear life. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's pretty cool. Target 1 Gold Pride monster you control. Until the end of this turn, it gains 500 attack. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and it cannot activate its effects. During the end phase, if a face-up Gold Pride monster you control was destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, you can set this card from your graveyard. You can only use this effect of Gold Pride Pedal to the Metal once per turn.
It's alright. Next up, we have a continuous spell, Gold Pride. Better luck next time. And it's like, it's
Loving the names.
and it's pinballer, like his bride broke, and he's just like, oh man, it's great. Continuous spell, like I said. When this card is activated, you can add a Gold Pride monster from deck to hand. If you do, lose life points equal to its attack. If a face-up Gold Pride monster or monsters you control that was special from the extra deck returns to the extra deck, except during the damage step, draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Gold Pride Better Luck next time once per turn. You can only activate one Gold Pride Better Luck next time per turn. They really doubled up on the one. You can only get one of this. You get one.
You can't do it again. This is a one-time thing just between me and you. You cannot do it again.
Yeah. That's actually a really good card because, like, the 3 vehicles that we know of, all during the end phase, return themselves the extra if you use their effects.
Yeah.
So then you just draw a card.
Next, we have Gold Pride. It's neck and neck. Normal trap card. Target 1 Gold Pride monster you control or 1 Gold Pride card in your graveyard, except Gold Pride, it's neck and neck. Return it to the hand. If your opponent controls a monster with higher attack than your life points, you can banish this card and 1 Gold Pride monster from your graveyard. Special summon 1 other Gold Pride monster from your extra deck that mentions that banished monster's name. You can only use each effective Gold Pride, it's neck and neck once per turn.
That's not terrible even for a normal trap.
No, it's really not terrible.
The only issue, though, is that you pretty much have to be in a situation to where if your opponent lands that attack, you lose.
Yeah, it's kind of a one-off card.
Yeah, I personally don't think it's good enough for the slot, but it's a really cool card and really cool concept for the entire deck, but that's just... The whole deck is just a series of really super cool concepts.
For sure.
And I can totally see this going really well with, like, a punk engine.
Oh, it already was like a punk engine deck, but now it's going to be even better.
Oh, yeah, no. Particularly because now they have outs to anything that isn't a towers.
Right.
Oh, it can't be destroyed? Cool, I'll just equip.
Yeah.
Oh, can't be targeted? I don't target. Equip.
So there is something that I want to talk about before we wrap up the podcast, which
I saw you.
we have a little bit of time. I have to figure out exactly how much time we have because my watch timer stopped.
Uh-oh.
So can you see if that little thing is counting up or down?
Yeah, 1 second. It's counting up.
All right, what are we at?
15.
Okay, cool.
Like, exactly 15.
Cool, then we have around 15 minutes. Okay.
Cool. We have time.
So, Tyler the Great Warrior went up for auction today, which is Wednesday, April 19th, from when this episode goes up.
Yeah.
So, or when we record.
Yeah.
So, Tyler the Great Warrior, for those that don't know, is the rarest and most exclusive card in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
There's one.
Yes, there is exactly one copy of this card. I've heard rumors in the past that there are other copies that nobody knows about, but like Konami keeps one in its vault.
Which I think that one's true because it makes sense. But that would be we made this, we're going to put a copy in the vault. Because it's probably a case if you walk in, if it's a physical location, you walk in the vault and it's just like one copy of every single card in the game.
Yeah, and that's the concept. It's like the seed vault in, what is it, like Norway or something?
Yeah, in Svalbard.
Switzerland. Oh, is it in Norway?
Yeah, I think it's in Svalbard specifically.
Well, regardless, it's kind of like that where it's got I really do believe that Konami has that vault somewhere. But regardless, I mean, they wouldn't even need a vault. They would just need a couple of bulk boxes, honestly. But
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is Svalbard.
That's crazy that you just knew that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway,
so this card, Tyler the Great Warrior, there was a young man. He was probably about 8 or 9 years old at the time. He was a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. This was in 2005, 2006, and there was a he developed.
Make-A-Wish, huh?
Yeah, so he developed cancer. I want to say it was liver cancer. I could be wrong though. So, or maybe it was leukemia. So, young man Tyler gets cancer of some sort and ends up in St. Jude's. He's doing all kinds of,
therapies
and treatments and chemo. And while he's going through all this, he gets his St. Jude's Make-A-Wish, which was, as we all know, a Porsche. But he wasn't old enough for a Porsche, so because he was not legally able to drive, they said, can't get you a Porsche. What else would you want? And he thought about it for a few days, and this is what he landed on, which was Tyler the Great Warrior, which he got to pick what type of monster it was.
Yeah.
So he picked that it was a warrior. He picked kind of how many stars and stuff like that, and how generally they gave my idea like, yeah, would you know, do you think 3,000 for the stats? And he was like, yeah, you know. So with that said, he played an integral role in the design of the card. And the one thing that he didn't pick at all was the name. They told him, we're going to pick the name and, you know, this will be our contribution. So Make-A-Wish gets in contact with Konami, and they, like, Konami sets all this up, and, you know, like, Konami, I say that I kind of got my story mixed up, but Konami's the one that worked with him on this, and they picked the name. So they flew him to New York, and they had a printing room in New York. They brought him in. They let him. He watched the card get printed. He watched the card get cut out of the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
He watched everything. They took the card directly out of the printer and cutter. They put it in a pressurized slab, like a pressure slab, which, for those that don't know, it's basically just two pieces of acrylic that are clear, and they take 4 screws and they screw it down and it just presses in there. And the point is to keep the card safe forever and just keep the card in this pressurized case. That way the card doesn't get damaged. Well, just funny story. It turns out those cases damage the cards
Over the course of years and years of them being in them.
Right, because the cards shift over time. It damages the corners, it damages the surface, it damages the edges. It's just not great for the cards. So pressurized cases are actually really bad for cards.
Yep.
So Tyler got to thinking. He lived. He got through all of his cancer, but he still has the card. You know, when they gave it to him, they said, you know, keep the card, cherish it. This is really something special. I really want you to understand just how special this card is. So, you know, don't sell it, don't get rid of it, things like that. This is a really big deal. And what he decided, he kept the card for years. He's had the cards, you know, almost 2 decades now.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you know, I think it's my time where I want to live the life that I fought to keep. And so...
But that's expensive.
Right. Well, he wants to travel and see the world. He wants to go to, you know, Europe to see his brother and things like that. So he wants to, you know, he'd rather have the money. Well, he decided today on April 19th, to put the card up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Which he decided to do it a month or 2 ago, but it went live today.
Yeah.
And what do you think the card was at 15 minutes into the auction?
I imagine.
What would you think that the card would be worth overall? Like, what would be your number, like, before the auction started? Because I know you've seen the number since the auction started.
Yeah.
What do you think the number would have been at before the auction started?
Okay.
Because my prediction was somewhere in the 1 million range.
Well, you know, I was thinking either 850 to a full mil, and I would not be surprised at more. I don't know what they start, and I figured it would probably start at like $100,000.
So within 15 minutes, the card had jumped to $70,000.
Okay, so it started lower than I was expecting.
Well, it started at 0.
Oh.
And or maybe $100 or $1,000 or something.
Yeah, real low ball, because he knew it was going to.
Right.
Ooh.
And within 15 minutes, the card was at $70,000.
Damn, what's it at now?
Now, 3.5 hours after the card has gone live, it is at $130,100.
Nice.
Within an hour, it was at $100,000. But then it capped at $100,000 for like 30, 45 minutes because people, apparently there was an issue with eBay not letting people, you have to have an American address to bid on the card.
Mm-hmm.
And so outside interests could not bid on the card. So like the super high-end Japanese investors
can't touch it.
Right. Now, keep in mind, there are Japanese collectors that will spend $500,000 or more on this card.
Yeah. No. And like, so this is only 3 hours. How long is the auction up for?
10 days.
Yeah. So that actually gives a lot of collectors who aren't in the States enough time to
arrange everything and organize it.
Yeah, to arrange to have somebody buy it for them.
Yeah.
for like a cut or something like that.
Speaking of, if you are a collector outside of the United States and you want to buy this card, wire me the money and I promise I will buy this card for you. I got you, dog.
Well, you'll make a bid. No promises it'll actually win.
No, I'm saying like make the winning bid, wire me the money, I'll pay the money and have it shipped to my house, and then I'll ship it to you.
Fair enough, yeah. For, of course, a cut.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to charge a fee, a light fee, not anything crazy, but enough to make my time okay.
Yeah, and then you also get to like see the card.
Yeah, that's honestly the biggest reason to do it, is to see the card, witness the history.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, just for reference, I figured I would pull this up. The record, I believe, for the selling of a Black Lotus Magic the Gathering card.
Oh, it's in the millions.
No, actually,
There's no way an Alpha Black Lotus is worth under $1 million.
Not Alpha. No one is selling an Alpha Black Lotus.
Well, the record would be an Alpha.
Yeah. The current record for the highest value sold for a Black Lotus.
Sure.
Not what it's worth, what it's been sold for.
Sure.
$540K.
Is the record that low?
According to a quick Google search. So, yeah, PSA 10 Gem Mint Alpha Black Lotus sells for more than $500,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
540,000. Let's see, another one for 540. Yeah, about 540, just for reference. And this thing is already at what was the number again? 30,000.
130.
Yeah, 130. Already a fifth of the way there. Within 6 hours.
So, I pulled up a list of the most expensive Magic the Gathering cards. The 15 through it's 6
like the various Moxes.
15 through 6 are irrelevant.
Yeah. Number 1, Black Lotus.
Yeah, number 6 is like a Mox Ruby Alpha.
Yeah. The Alpha Moxes, etc.
Yeah. Next, number 5 is a Black Lotus Beta worth 81,000. Number 4 is a copy artifact from Beta, 100,000. Number 3 is a Lord of the Pit from Alpha, 105,000.
Ooh, Lord of the Pit.
Number 2, Mind Twist from Beta, $208,940.97. Number 1, a Black Lotus that peak price was $615,000.
Okay, there we go.
This is a CGC graded 8.5 with an original artist signature.
It's the signature is what's adding the extra cash.
Yeah, there's only about this has around 1,000 copies of Alpha Black Lotus that were ever printed. Period.
Yeah,
but I want to say I saw at one point there was 1,300.
Yeah, I actually know a guy who had 2 copies back in back when it was new.
Yeah.
And he lost them both in Katrina.
No shot.
He lost both of them in Katrina.
Oh.
He lost his entire collection in Katrina. And he was all... because we were talking about Magic the Gathering cards. Well, we were talking about, like... Me and a group of other friends were talking about expensive cards. And he was like... And somebody mentioned, oh yeah, no, Black Lotus is one of the most expensive cards in the world. And he had brought up, was like, oh yeah, no, I used to have like 2 of them. What are they, like $300? He's like, no. At the time, I think it was like 150,000 at the time.
No, that's not true at all. Because Black Lotuses weren't worth that kind of money until the last like 10 years or so.
Then it's probably like 5 or 6 grand. They've always been worth big time cash.
Yeah, I mean, Black Lotus value over time.
Yeah, like, to be fair, I think that the big 3 cards for price: Black Lotus, base set, Shadowless Charizard.
Yep.
And Tyler the Great Warrior now gets to be added in amongst them.
Yeah, and what's funny was before this, it was either LOB First Ed Blue Eyes, or you could make an argument that the DDS, is that it? DDS.
Dark
Blue?
Dual Story Blue Eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
But Tyler's just blown both of them out of the water.
Yeah,
By
for sure.
far.
So, here's one classified ad in Los Angeles in 2008 for a collection that includes the entire Power 9 as well as a full
Jesus.
set of unlimited dual lands. If that ad were posted today, I would receive approximately 7,000 messages in 3 minutes. Back then, however, I had to up my offer from the $600 he was asking to about $1,000 to fend off competition. So for all of that, he paid $1,000.
Jeez.
So, you know.
Yeah. But this conversation happened like 2014, 2015.
Or no, that he sold all of that for that amount.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, to be fair, the conversation happened like 2014, 2015.
So after that, about 4 or 5 years later, he bought everything back for $10,000.
Ooh.
Because he was more, you know.
Yeah, he was in a better spot to where he could.
Yeah.
The Power 9 being like the 6 Moxes, Mox Ruby, Mox Sapphire, Mox Emerald, Mox Pearl, and Mox Jet, I believe.
Wait, what?
The Power 9. It's like the Mox Jewels, Mox Ruby, Mox Sapphire, Mox Pearl, Mox Emerald, Jet, and I'm forgetting one. No, that's it.
Okay. And then you have Black Lotus.
Then we have Black Lotus. I want to say Ancestral Recall.
Yes.
Like, after that, I get real fuzzy. Then
Time Twister and Time Walk.
Oh.
Time Walk literally says, take an extra turn.
Yeah. Hilariously, I saw a game where it was one of the original creators of Magic the Gathering playing up against a YouTuber. They were both using alpha decks.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it was like each deck was worth what? 500 was each worth like what? $500,000 each. Or no. I think each deck was worth like $1 million a piece, and they had 2 of them.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll about.
So here's
yeah.
Oh well.
Well, I was gonna say I think we should go ahead and like wrap up.
Well, I think we should start a new recording.
Oh no! Again.
I didn't realize it cut off.
Neither did I. Thought we had more time.
We have lost footage yet again.
And we're back a little.
Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah. I thought we had more time.
So did I.
There's never enough time.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
there was time now. That's not fair. Is the reference?
I guess I'll have to clap again for the Mr. Editor Man. But
sorry.
no, we both should have seen that coming. Well, with all of that said, let's go ahead and thank all of our wonderful, wonderful patrons. So, with that said, a huge thank you to Jiraiya, Quick Summon Totally Awesome, Cam Yang, Kane Martin, Zyphorus, Cards Goetia, Earth Machine, Best Deck, Epi, Has Anyone Actually Read Toy Vendor, HGH Cyber, I Am Make a Lincoln, If All You Have Is a Cosmic, Every Problem Looks Like a Floodgate, John Leal, Monstertron, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Seto Kawaiba, Silver Hope, Unbanned number 95, Konami, Understanding and Reading are 2 different things. Virtually Saviors World, Rogue, and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck. Aaron Garner, Asami, Ashlish Chaps, Atsuyo, Simp of the Silver Castle, Blackwing Silver, and the Ascendant is the best Floodgate box wine. Come on and get your game on. Duty Booty, Dragon Maidenless Behavior, Dragon Maid Stunzeed. I'm about to Rika, Glamour Tribute for Crosty's Plant Nuts in Your Mouth. Cam, the Hockey Walkie Slush Mixer, Old Man Red, pin code 143, Slaking It Up, and Valence Hojo Mama. Thank you all so much for your continuous support of the podcast. Now, with all of that said, thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, have a great, great week, everybody.
Apparently, Jiraiya is a Bahamut Shark. Take care, everybody!